Once upon a time, there lived a married couple in Palestine who had almost everything they wanted in life. The only thing they didn't have was a child, but it was the most important thing for them. And one day, their lives became perfect and a baby child was born. Her skin was as white as cheese, so they called her Jbene. Jbene was loved by everyone who knew her, and she grew up until she became a very beautiful lady. Most of the men in her village wanted to marry her. One man said, "Jbene, would you like to have a cup of tea with me?" Another man said, "Jbene, would you like to have a walk with me?" And another man said, "Jbene, would you like to come to my house and have dinner with me?" The young women also were very jealous. One woman said, "Why do people love Jbene so much?" Another woman said, "What does she have that we don't have?" And the other woman said, "We should teach her a lesson." So, the three young women asked Jbene to go with them in order to pick fruit from the Christ thorn tree. Jbene was very helpful, so she couldn't refuse and she accepted to go with them. The young women took Jbene to the Christ thorn tree. The Christ thorn tree was a very long way and it was also a very difficult journey. When they arrived there, they asked Jbene to go up the tree. They said, "Jbene, climb the tree. Higher, higher, higher. Don't stop until you get to the top. Pick up the best fruit." When Jbene got to the top, the young women lit a fire under the tree so that Jbene could not go down. Jbene was crying in pain and her body was scratched from the thorn. But the young women didn't care. They laughed at her and they left poor Jbene alone. Jbene was still crying. She said, "What am I going to do here? How can I go to my parents? I'm very afraid here. Please, please, I need help." But nobody could hear her. When the fire went out, Jbene was able to go down. She looked at the fire. She took some soot from the fire and she rubbed into her face and her body. She said, "I don't want to be beautiful anymore. Being beautiful gives me a lot of problems." At that moment, the landowner arrived. He saw Jbene. He thought that she was his servant. He spoke to her angrily and said, "What are you doing here? Go and look after the sheep." And he pointed to the sheep. Jbene didn't say anything. She went. She sat between the sheep and she started to cry. She told her story to the sheep. The sheep seemed to be very sad and they started to cry and to cry and to cry. And even the sky started to cry also, and the rain fell and washed her face and her body. Jbene became beautiful again, and suddenly the landowner arrived and saw her. He realized that she wasn't his servant. Jbene told the whole story to the landowner, and he asked her to forgive him. Then he fell in love with her and asked her to marry him. Now this is the end of our story. What do you think? Will Jbene marry the landowner?